Hello friends, welcome to another video with me. If you are new, hi, welcome. I am Ducky, I am a chronically ill crafter, and I mainly crochet small little plushies. I have a few things to talk about in this video. The first thing is I wouldn't say it was a market, but the organisers of the wrestling company that I ring announce for were very kind enough to let me sell some crochet products at the show. I didn't film it, I didn't expect it to do too well. I thought maybe, one or two items would be sold for kids who attend that show. I ended up selling $90 worth of product, which I am very happy about. I sold my last velvet cat for $10. Apparently, because I was busy ring announcing, so I wasn't really attending to my crochet products. I had a very lovely friend of mine do that for me, and she said that the cat was very popular, so to somehow find another yarn to make more. So that's what I'm gonna do. I also sold one of my pink acrylic bunnies for $15, and then I also sold my small bee for 15? Yeah, 15. Now, if you remember, I mentioned in my market video that I wasn't quite sure about the bees. They weren't my best work and the wings were crooked. Excuse you. The wings were crooked on both of them and they were not proportionate to the body at all, but one of them sold, so I'm happy with that. And then before the show, I also made a jumbo version of my bunny, and apparently that was super popular. I only made one in a mint green blanky yarn, and apparently I have to make more colours because they were really loving it. I sold that one for $40, and that actually went to one of the audience members, and I actually didn't write it down, but I sold one of my octos for $10. And one of the wrestlers actually bought that for his daughter, and it was cute. It was so cute. So yes, in total I made $90. So that was a positive thing, definitely very positive, and I'm very happy with that. Now the next thing that I want to talk about is I have moved my shop from Etsy to Shopify. Not by choice, really. I got kicked off of Etsy. I'm not going to really speak about it much because I don't even know what happened, what caused me to get permanently suspended. I don't know, but I'm moving my shop to Shopify, and this is kind of what this video is going to be about. It's going to be about the differences I've noticed between Etsy and Shopify and which one I would recommend and whatnot. But before we get into that, I do want to say, do not take my word for all of this information. I did my research and everything, but I recommend you do your research. This is just my personal opinion. Do not take it as whatever, you know what I mean. So the first thing is that Etsy is a marketplace, whereas Shopify is a website builder. With Etsy, customers can browse products, they can just search up what they're interested in and it would have all of the products listed. Very similar to Facebook Marketplace, and you'll be getting a lot of the products from different stores, not just one set store. Shopify lets users build their website pretty much entirely from scratch. You can make it unique, you can make it whatever you like, and there are a bunch of free templates. You can put up blog posts, photos, updates on your business. It's not just set as a place to sell products. The whole marketplace versus website builder kind of goes into my next point, which is about customization. Etsy is very limited when it comes to making your store look the way you want it to. You can change your profile picture, your banner, you can add descriptions to listings and tags and all of that, and photos and videos, everything like that, but that's where it kind of ends. Shopify has all of that and more. You can do photos and blog posts outside of your listings and have it on your website right there, and you can actually change the way it looks as well. You can change the colors and the looks and everything to it, make it completely unique, and you can also make it really stand out against other shops and everything like that. Basically, Shopify just kind of helps you make it into like a proper brand and not just products on a shop. With the customizations though, it can be a little bit more difficult to kind of navigate and set up in a way. And so my next point is that I find Etsy to be a little bit more user-friendly when it comes to things like that. Etsy tends to be very simple. You put in your description, your tags, your weights, your colors, your variations, price, and the only thing that you really have to change is the profile picture and the banner. Like, you don't have to change the website, anything like that. Shopify took me a little bit longer to get used to just because there were so many things that I could customize. It was just a little bit overwhelming at first, but once I learned and I even searched up YouTube tutorials on things that I could do for it, I think it only took me like about 2-3 hours to completely set up with everything there. The other thing that I did note is that Shopify needs an extra extension for certain things like digital files, whereas Etsy already has that option in the listings. It is very easy to install though with that, and it's completely free. It's not like an extra thing that you gotta buy. So I don't think uploading patterns or anything like that is gonna be an issue. This next point is purely based on my opinion, but I find that you could probably have a wider range of products on Shopify. Etsy users tend to sell like handmade, vintage products, and you can sell multiple like genres in a way of products. For example, jewelry, crochet, knitting, stuff like that. Most Etsy artists tend to make separate shops for products. So one will have a 3D printed shop and then another shop for crochet stuff. But again, I don't really know where I'm going with this. With Shopify though, you can kind of separate that on your website. You can separate it with collections and drop down menus and things like that. Moving on from that little ramble, the next thing that I do want to talk about is website fees. To set up a shop on Etsy, it is completely free. There's no charges whatsoever. You could set up your shop, but then you've got listing fees, which for me is only 30 cents per listing, but over time that can add up and it can be quite pricey. Then on top of that, there are transaction fees for when you do sell an item, which is 6.5%, and then processing fees, which can be 3 to 4% depending on the product, plus an extra 25 cents. And that's not even including the Etsy ads, which I would spend $30 a month on, and that was on the lowest price setting as well that you can have for ads. Now Shopify has a flat subscription fee, which is $42 a month. However, you get the first 3 days free, and then for the first 3 months, it's only $1. There are also no listing fees, so you can list as much as you want and not have it taken out of your profit or net worth or anything like that. And the transaction fee is only 1.75% and 25 cents. It's a lot less than Etsy. So in the end, I'm pretty much paying the same amount to use Etsy and Shopify, but with Shopify, there are so many more things that you can do with it. I think I'm getting more of my money's worth in Shopify than what I am with Etsy. Your feet are in the shot. I am recording.
It's okay. You can use this as gold. Use this as like a funny bit.
In the end, it comes down to personal preference about how much you want to spend. Again, it's just my opinion, but I would rather spend that money on Shopify if I get a whole lot more customization. I did mention before that Etsy has ads that you can use. It's not a necessity, but it would help you promote your products to other customers who like similar things. Kind of like sponsored posts in social media and stuff like that. It'll just be recommended to them. And I'm not gonna lie, it did bring in sales, it did help a lot, but a lot of other shops who have similar items are doing the same thing. There's a lot of noise and a lot of competition that you also have as well, especially with crochet. Like, you gotta stand out somehow, you gotta have something different and unique, and it can be really difficult with that certain type of craft. Now with Shopify, you are directing all of the traffic to your shop. There's not really a way to promote your shop like Etsy ads has. With what I've read and my research, you can add another extension to connect to Google ads and use it that way. I have not done that yet. I might in the future, who knows. So I don't know the costs or anything like that going that route with it, but you're directing all of the traffic. So it's basically all coming from your social media, your promotions, your markets, everything like that. To kind of go along with advertising, Etsy has an option where you can favorite a shop and have notifications of new listings, discounts, sales, which is great if you use Etsy often as a buyer. It's kind of designed like a social media, getting notifications from people you follow, but if you don't use Etsy often as a buyer, you're not really going to see those notifications. It's kind of like a separate drop-down menu that you have on Etsy to see all of that stuff, whereas Shopify has an option to connect an email and send out emails to those people who sign up for it. You can send out weekly newsletters, updates about your shop, anything of that genre, and I feel like that would be a better way to communicate to those people who do follow your shop. I feel like you would see it more if it's in your emails than just on Etsy. Now this next point is more about the bans and the suspensions that Etsy gives out randomly, but I'm going to be talking quickly about the policies, not necessarily about what policies they have, but how they can affect sellers. Etsy is essentially renting out a space for you to sell your products. And you gotta abide by their policies just like any other social media. If you go against any of those policies, even accidentally, you can get banned, permanently suspended like I was. And I have discovered that they don't even have to give you a reason for that ban or suspension. When I got permanently suspended, I received an email basically not telling me what, just that I violated policies, and basically explaining that I can no longer sell on Etsy and I can't make another shop on Etsy. As far as I'm aware, I did not violate any policies or anything like that. Shopify, you own your shop and you can even own a domain for that shop. You're not renting a space, that's yours. That's your space that you can make whatever you want it to be. And I wasn't as concerned for my shop getting taken down like I was with Etsy. It's not a social media like Etsy is. It's a website. You're building your business. Now for my next point, it kind of goes along the same lines. It's about the customer support that I have received from Etsy. I've had a few issues with Etsy even before I was kicked off, where I've had to contact customer service. It's not the greatest. It took hours for a response, sometimes even days. When I finally did get in touch with a representative from Etsy, they were really nice and sweet about it. And for this particular issue, they were able to help me, and that was to deactivate the two-factor authorization. And I found that to be a huge hassle because in order to connect to customer support, you have to be logged in. But because I couldn't log in because of the 2FA, I had to find another way to contact them, and that took me forever to find. I had to go through forums and Reddit and a whole bunch of other different pages just to find a form to fill out so they can contact me. And then it took them 2 days to actually remove the 2FA. The second time I did contact them, it was when I was suspended. It took several hours to hear back from them, and when I did, it was just an AI generated email. So yeah, I got no reason, nothing about why I was removed from Etsy. As far as I'm aware, I did nothing wrong. With Shopify, I haven't needed to contact customer support yet, but from what I've read from research and stuff like that, people who have contacted support got a response. They have a 24/7 chat, I think. And they also have a bunch of phone numbers that you can call depending on what region you're from. They have an Australian number, a United States number. But yes, I don't know what the support is like from Shopify. Not that I think I'll ever have to contact them. That's just from what I've seen. Overall, I think both Etsy and Shopify have their pros and cons, and it is all up to choice about which one you would rather use. I find that Etsy is really good for beginners, people who are just starting and getting their business off the ground. Whereas Shopify, you know, you have to direct all the traffic and everything. You kind of have to have some customers already to do all of that. So if I had a choice with where my business is at the moment, I probably would have stuck with Etsy a little bit longer, if I had a choice. But because I didn't have a choice and I was permanently suspended, I decided to move to Shopify. But that pretty much wraps up this video today. I know it's a little bit different and more on the business side of things, but my next video will be Seriously, man? My next video is going to be reorganizing this mess like I said I would do in my market video. But yes, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you want any more updates, all my social media will be down in the description, Instagram, TikTok, and my new Shopify shop will be down there as well. Also, if there's any other videos that you do want to see from me, don't be afraid to leave a comment, and make sure you thumbs up this video as well. But yes, that is all for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time. Bye!